We're about to go on vacation to Cancun, so I thought what better time to make a video about some tips and hacks for your next trip to Mexico. So a lot of you are coming to Mexico and going to an all-inclusive resort, but don't forget that tips aren't included. And a lot of times it says you're paying a gratuity. However, the wages of these hotel and resort workers are usually pretty darn low, and they depend on tips to make a decent living here. For example, Moon Palace is one of the most popular 5-star resorts in the Cancun area. It's a huge resort, lots of people go there, and the rooms can easily cost $500 a night. But let's take a look at some of the job listings that they currently have available online. A receptionist is 5,000 to 10,000 pesos a month. That's less than $300 on the low end. A maintenance worker, that's $365 a month. Or a cook is $465 a month. These are pretty low wages, and it's not an inexpensive place for Mexicans to live. So even a lot of the people who you wouldn't normally think to tip do depend on your tips to make a decent living. A quick tip for smokers: if you're coming to Mexico and bringing cigarettes, do not bring more than 10 packs because they will issue huge fines if they catch you with more than 10 packs. Like fines of $800 or $1,500 are very common on exceeding the limit for cigarettes. But what you can do is you can go to a convenience store like OXXO, for example, and depending on the brand you smoke, you can buy them for $3 or $4 a pack. So let's say you're coming to Mexico from the US. You might have a phone plan with a phone carrier in the US that includes data in Mexico. But you come to Mexico, you fly here, and you turn on your phone and you don't have data. You're like, what the heck? What the heck am I gonna do without data here? I need that. But all you have to do is you have to go in your phone settings and turn on data roaming. This happened to me when I had T-Mobile. I came here, my phone didn't work, and then I learned that I needed to turn on data roaming. I did that, and I was really scared because I was afraid of getting a huge bill. But as it turns out, my bill stayed exactly the same because I had unlimited data here in Mexico, and I just had to make that one small change. But if you're concerned about getting that huge bill, just contact your carrier to make sure that it's okay to turn on data roaming. And if you're coming to Mexico for a while, or if your data plan back home doesn't include data in Mexico, you may want to stop by a convenience store like OXXO and get a SIM card. I recommend getting a Telcel SIM card. And you can get data, you can recharge that SIM card on the Telcel website, or you can do it in that same convenience store and ask for something like una recarga de 200 pesos, a recharge of 200 pesos, and that will give you data for like a month. One tip that can save you a lot of money is to go to one of the major travel booking websites and book your vacation as a package, the flight and the hotel together. I did this recently and I was shocked at how much money you can save with some of those packages. But keep in mind that if you have status with a hotel and you book through a third party, you may not get those benefits that you would have otherwise gotten. And that leads me into my next tip. If you have status with a hotel brand, consider booking a resort that's owned by that hotel. For example, the last time Maya and I went to Cancun, we stayed at a Hilton resort, and I have status at Hilton, and we got an upgrade worth thousands of dollars plus free breakfast every day, which was worth several hundred more dollars. So it saved us a lot of money booking at that Hilton. Another thing you're going to want to do is download a couple of apps, that is Google Maps and Google Translate. And then on Google Translate, download the Spanish language. So then whether you have data or not, you're going to be able to make all your translations as long as you have phone battery. And also with Google Maps, go search online for how to download the area where you're visiting. And then you can download a certain area of Google Maps, so for example, around the Cancun area or the whole Yucatan Peninsula, and you have that map so you can navigate even if you don't have data. And one more app you may want to consider is WhatsApp. It's a free messaging service. It's what everybody uses here, all of the locals and a lot of the businesses too. So for example, if you need to communicate with a tour operator, like you book a tour and then you want to stay in communication with that person to make sure you don't miss your tour, well then you can download WhatsApp for free and contact them that way. And also if you get one of those Telcel SIM cards and you get one of those packages, it typically includes unlimited WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and various social medias. The next travel hack is actually the sponsor of this video. VELO Luggage is the world's first and patented 3-in-1 expandable hard-side luggage that can expand to suit the needs of any traveler. You can switch effortlessly between 3 sizes with the press of a button. A small 16-inch carry-on, a 22-inch medium check-in, and a 26-inch large check-in bag. I'm going on a trip to Cancun, and since it's hot there, I don't need very much space in my suitcase. But during every trip I take, I buy some things such as locally made handicrafts. And then, what do you know? It doesn't fit my suitcase for the trip home. Well, that problem is solved with the VELO expandable suitcase. With the press of a button, I pull up and boom, I have a full-size suitcase that fits the things I bought while on vacation. Something that people like to do with this luggage is to customize it so as you open and close it, the design of your suitcase transforms, like this cool Pokemon example. VELO is made with an aerospace-grade aluminum frame and robust joints for great strength and durability. The suitcase is also waterproof with a 100% polycarbonate shell. Something I haven't seen before is this large handle that extends all the way across the top and pops up with the press of a button. In addition to that, it has 360 spinner wheels, the latest TSA lock, and adjustable dividers for easier packing. And if all that isn't enough, they also offer some other practical accessories. This VELO luggage is perfect for you who value practicality and space because this one tiny suitcase replaces the need for a whole set. VELO Luggage is offering a special discount right now, so click the link in the description below. The next tip is for those of you visiting central Mexico. So much of Mexico is actually over 5,000 feet above sea level, including many of the major cities. Like Mexico City, I think is at 7,000 or 8,000 feet above sea level. So if you go to one of these places that's at a high elevation, give yourself some time to acclimatize. So when you get there, you may feel like you're out of breath, or you may feel like you have a headache or something. Well, there are some things you can do. So just do a quick Google search on what supplements you can take or what things you can do to adjust to the higher altitudes faster. If you're coming to Mexico to go to a resort, bring beach essentials like sunscreen with you, because if you want to buy sunscreen at your resort, they're going to charge you an arm and a leg for that. Or if you don't bring it with you, you can also get it for a reasonable price at grocery stores and pharmacies. And if you go to a pharmacy or grocery store looking for sunscreen, you'll find that they have much higher quality sunscreen available here in Mexico than what you can purchase in the US. If you're going to a super touristy place like Cancun, the taxi fares from the airport to your hotel are sky high and super high pressure sales. So it's usually best to avoid that. And in order to avoid that, I would search Cancun airport transfer, or the city you're going to airport transfer, and book your airport transfer ahead of time to avoid that headache. One question I get a lot is about money. Like, how much cash should I bring with me on my Mexico vacation? Is it okay to bring dollars, or do I need to go to my bank to get pesos? So when you come to Mexico, especially in the major cities, almost everywhere is going to accept credit cards. There will still be some places that are cash only, like you want to go and buy some handicrafts, or you're going to the local market, or you're going to a very small restaurant where it's just like the owner cooking. A lot of times those places will be cash only, and you'll also need cash for tips. But if you're going to a tourist city like Cancun, you can tip in either dollars or pesos, either one is fine. If you're going to a place that sees less tourists, always tip in pesos. If it were me coming to Mexico on a trip, I would bring a few $100s in cash along with some cards, and then upon arrival, I would exchange some of that money for pesos. Yes, you'll take a bit of a hit on that exchange fee. However, it's nice to have some pesos on you because there are some situations in which you will need pesos. But since most places accept credit cards, and paying with a credit card is where you're going to get the very best exchange rate, well, I would try to pay with a credit card most of the time. However, do it with a no foreign transaction fee card. For example, just about any card that's branded as a hotel or an airline or a general travel card, almost every single one of those is going to have no foreign transaction fee. But you can always check in your online account or do a quick Google search of whether that has a foreign transaction fee or not. You probably already have a card that has 0 foreign transaction fees. And I usually prefer to pay with Amex because I like getting my Amex points and my Hilton points. However, Amex is accepted at about 90% of places, and Visa and MasterCard are accepted almost everywhere. And sometimes I get pushback for suggesting a credit card because people will say, oh, but what if your credit card gets compromised and you get fraudulent transactions, or what if it gets stolen? Well, in that case, that's worst case scenario. And in that case, you call your bank and you get a 100% refund of all the fraudulent charges. You won't be able to use that credit card during the rest of your trip, so you want to have a backup plan. But that's a really minor worst case scenario. Whereas if you bring a couple $1,000s in cash, for example, and that gets stolen, that's gone for good. And if you need to use an ATM to get some extra cash out while you're here, try to use one that's inside a hotel, an airport, inside of a bank, and try to avoid the ATMs on the streets because the ones on the streets are much more likely to be tampered with. And by the way, just do a quick Google search on if your home bank has any sister banks in Mexico. For example, if you have Bank of America in the US, you can use Scotiabank ATMs for free in Mexico. You still get charged a foreign transaction fee, but at least you don't pay the ATM fee. But also, if you want to go a little bit further, you can sign up for a Charles Schwab investor checking account and you get no ATM fees worldwide, plus any ATM fees that you're charged are refunded to you at the end of each month. Plus, there's no foreign transaction fees. So that's a great option as well, but it does require signing up for a free bank account. Another tip I have for you is when you arrive at your resort, ask if they have a list of amenities that are included at your resort, or amenities or activities, because this can save you a lot of money on your trip, and there will probably be some things that you didn't realize were included in the price. Although you may be coming to Mexico just to enjoy the beach, you'll probably have at least one meal at a fancy restaurant. So don't just bring beachwear, and bring at least one dressier outfit. And my final tip for you is to avoid the major car rental companies. Watch this video next where I talk about how Hertz Cancun tried to have me arrested when I revealed their scam.